What's up, pilots? Today I want to talk about a new flight controller I'm trying. It's the Raceflight Revolt, and I've got this installed on one of my frames. This is my version 2 prototype with Storm 2207 2550 kV motors, Cyclone V2 props, Speedix IS 30 amp ESCs. We're running multi-shot on this since that seems to work best with the setup for Raceflight One. I'm running build 222. I'm not sure what release version that is, but it's build 222. And stock PIDs on here were actually pretty good. It felt super stable, locked in. I did have to lower I a lot because on the roll axis I was getting a lot of bounce back. My roll and pitch integral are lower than stock, I believe. I was getting a lot of bounce back with the stock values, so lowered those and it went away. I think my Ds are close to stock. I tried increasing them a lot and I started to feel too soft. And I like my tune to be a little bit more responsive, so this is where I ended up right now. It feels pretty good. You can see my rate profiles are around 700 degrees per second, and still need to play with these. I normally have a higher super rate value in Betaflight, like 76 to 78. This is low for me, but there's a lot more expo, I think, built into the curve here. It felt like there's more expo, and I didn't really like that as much, so this felt more natural to me. For flight behavior, this felt really smooth. I tuned without the GoPro on here, and then put the GoPro on just so I could get some footage to put into this video. But very smooth PID controller, almost no prop wash once I had it tuned right. And I really liked how I could just input the rate profile that I have from Betaflight onto this Raceflight One board. That made my learning curve getting into this new flight control system really short. I had to lower my super rate value a little bit just because there was too much expo for my taste. I normally fly 0.77 super expo and then set my RC rate to whatever it has to be in Betaflight to get 700 degrees per second. I did the same thing here, but 0.77 super rate felt like way too much expo. It was like doing some random rolls on me when I didn't want to. So I lowered super rate down to 0.74 or 0.75, and now it feels great. It's doing exactly what I want. And at the end of the day, after about a dozen packs, the last two really started to feel comfortable, and the controller was doing what I wanted, so I was able to start to apply some speed to the racetrack. Also want to talk about how easy this is to set up. The GUI on Raceflight is kind of awesome. You solder this to your normal 5-volt power supply on the bottom. Connect your ESCs and your receiver normally how you would on any other flight controller. And this is where the magic happens. After you've soldered everything up, you plug this into Raceflight One's application, and immediately the app asks you, hey, do you want to automatically set up your drone? And all you do is you take the drone, you put it flat on the table, and then you put it nose down on the table, and that automatically sets the orientation of the FC. You don't have to enter any positive or negative value, so you don't really need to worry about whether or not you've set up this FC in the right orientation. You could mount it upside down and rotate it 90 degrees, and you'd still get it right. The next thing it does is it enters the auto setup for your receiver, and it's pretty cool because it scans all the UARTs and detects what UART your receiver's on, and also what type of receiver it is. So for myself, I'm a Spektrum pilot, so I'm running Spektrum receivers, and it automatically detected that I had Spektrum connected on, I believe, UART 2. And it just picked it up. I didn't have to tell it what kind of protocol I wanted. It automatically detected and picked up DSMX. So also really cool and great for people who don't want to be experts at setting up software. It's just very, very easy. The next thing it does is there's a setup menu for checking out your motor direction and ESC calibration. That's also really nice. So I think this has got a lot of potential. It flew smooth, fast. It went exactly where I went. I think I have some more work to do on PIDs and also on the rate profile. But so far, it is pretty good. I'm very pleased with it, and I'm going to continue to try it on this one frame and compare back and forth with Betaflight. If I really like it, I'll be building up this controller in my second frame and then probably converting the entire fleet. One of the coolest features I want to mention is being able to change the video channel on your VTX through your radio is really cool. Let me grab my radio. So here's my Spektrum radio. I got this working on my DX18 and also on my DX9. You just have to update to the latest firmware for either radio. And basically in here, oh that's funny, it says Betaflight. I use the same model for everything, so sorry. There's VTX setup, and in this menu you can change the channel, you can change your band, and you can change your power, which is really cool. It's actually changing between 25 milliwatt and 200 milliwatt settings on the Unify Pro. There's no real 250 or 500 on the version that I'm using. It only goes 25 and 200. But that's what shows up in the GUI. Really neat. And so in order for this to work, all you need to set up is one extra wire. It's just the audio wire from the Unify Pro, and you solder it to any of the open UART transmit connections here. So I use the TX pin for UART 3, and then you just go into the GUI. Here's the configuration tab. Configuration, and to enable smart audio you just go down here in telemetry and select the location where you've soldered the audio wire from the Unify Pro to your Raceflight controller. Once you pick this, that's really it. You hit save and you're good to go. Smart audio will work from Spektrum radio to the flight controller and from the flight controller to the Unify Pro. So what's neat is you can change channels like in almost a second. You can plug in your quad when it's your turn to fly, and if you need to change channels, hit send. The transmitter will update and it'll automatically be on the right channel. Really, really awesome. The only drawback here is this doesn't currently support some of the channels that are illegal in the USA. And if they're illegal, you shouldn't be flying them anyway, so shame on you. But, you know, we all do it. Boscam low, like Boscam 4, and also Boscam high channels 7 and 8. You won't be able to access those here right now, which is a limitation. But you still get Fat Shark and all the race band channels and most of the Boscam channels. So still very good, awesome feature. Almost worth switching to Raceflight just to have that, but I'm pretty sure the competition is going to be addressing that as well pretty soon. Okay, that's all, guys. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this, and hopefully this information on Raceflight is useful. Cheers.